There's a kind of silence that doesn't really exist anymore. No, I'm not talking about the tidy, institutional quiet of a library or the formal hush of a church where everyone is afraid to breathe too loud. I mean the kind that used to sit quietly inside a person, the silence that lived in the space between thoughts, in those small pauses that once shaped the rhythm of a day. The kind of silence that wasn't planned or protected, it just happened. That silence has vanished. We've filled it up with noise, with notifications, with the constant hum of connection that never really lets us go. We've built a world that keeps asking for our attention and never stops to give it back. I only realized what we had lost on a day that was meant to be ordinary. It was a Saturday morning, the kind that drifts past unnoticed. I decided to go for a walk, partly to clear my head after a hectic week. And only halfway down the street did I realize I had forgotten my phone at home. At first, it felt like a jolt, a strange emptiness in my pocket where the world usually waited. I wasn't sure if the silence would feel liberating or unsettling, but soon the neighborhood sounds, the birds, distant traffic, the soft rustle of leaves began to fill the space I hadn't realized was empty. The neighborhood was alive in ways I had long forgotten. A bird sang from a branch I had passed countless times without hearing. Leaves stirred in a gentle wind that carried the scent of something washed clean by rain. Somewhere in the distance, a child laughed, unprompted by a notification, uncurated, unedited. The ordinary sounds of a day unfolded around me, filling the spaces I had not realized were empty. At first, I felt restless. My hand reached instinctively for the phone, as if I could summon the world back into my pocket. There was nothing to pull me back, no scroll to soothe the anxiety, no tap to measure myself against others. And slowly, as the mind stopped searching, tension in my shoulders eased. A quiet relief settled deep inside, subtle and insistent, like exhaling air I hadn't known I was holding. It reminded me that life continues even when we are not constantly watching, that it exists outside the screen. I realized how much we have traded presence for reception. We have become spectators of our own lives, measuring reality through updates, likes, and shares. Every moment is filtered, not lived. Awareness has been outsourced to a device, and the quiet act of simply being has become rare, almost frightening in its emptiness. Walking further, I felt the way my body carried me, the small mechanical miracles we forget when distracted. The cadence of my steps on the uneven sidewalk, the warmth of the sun breaking through clouds, the way my lungs worked without effort, the pulse of the day passing through me in real time. I noticed details I had been too busy to see. The smell of damp earth, the texture of leaves, the rhythms that belong only to the present. We live in a world that prizes urgency, teaching us that every second must be accounted for, every pause filled, every moment consumed. Every notification is a call to respond, a signal to react, a reminder that we must measure ourselves against invisible expectations. The nervous system treats it all like danger, as if a saber-toothed tiger were hidden in our phones, keeping us in a constant low hum of tension. Silence is not emptiness. It is the weight of ourselves, the unspoken and unedited thoughts that have been pushed aside. It dredges up our own truths, small doubts, unacknowledged anxieties. We are trained to run from these things, to fill stillness with distraction. But in doing so, we lose touch with the quiet foundation of who we are. The quiet forced me to confront the internal noise I usually ignored, doubts I had been running from, questions postponed, feelings buried under endless scrolling surfaced. At first, it was unsettling, but in the calm, I understood that confronting these things was not danger, it was liberation. The mind, when allowed to rest, begins to sort itself, untangling threads that have been knotted for years. I realized how our culture teaches us to fear boredom, as if moments without distraction are wasted, as if stillness is emptiness. But boredom is not a void. It is the soil in which thought grows. Without it, creativity cannot take root. Without it, we never hear ourselves think. Without it, we forget that we have voices, ideas, and instincts that do not need validation from the world. The absence of the phone allowed me to listen, not to alerts or the chatter on arguments online, but to the natural music of the world. Leaves brushing against each other, a dog barking in the distance, occasional laughter from someone crossing the street. It was a rhythm older than me, something the human heart could recognize if it only had the time. Silence began to open doors I had closed years ago. Memories returned uninvited, but welcomed, as if waiting for a space to breathe. Conversations left half-finished, decisions delayed, feelings postponed. They did not come with judgment or urgency, they simply were. Time began to feel different, not as a sequence of tasks to be completed, but as something living, moving, deeply personal. For the first time in a long while, I was present, not performing, not reacting, not measuring, not judging, just being. The relief was profound, not superior or enlightened, just awake to ordinary miracles we ignore because we are too busy consuming someone else's noise. Freedom is not found in distance or isolation. It is in the small acts of presence, in choosing to notice without interference, in giving yourself permission to inhabit the world on your own terms. In the quiet moments, the mind softens, the heart opens, perspective returns. The world continued while I walked. Notifications waited, feeds spun, messages went unread. Nothing broke, nothing changed. And yet, I returned home aware of how much life I had been missing, how many subtle wonders had gone unnoticed, because I was tethered to a device that never rests. Presence is rare. In a society where visibility is mistaken for value, the ability to step away, even briefly, becomes a radical act. It is not indulgence, it is reclamation. It is resistance against forces that want us fractured, anxious, always consuming, always performing. Silence lingered long after the walk ended. In the pauses between tasks, in waiting at meals, in idle moments, it became a reminder of what it means to be alive. The rarest luxury is not the screen, not connection, not applause or validation. It is simply this: the ability to be present, to feel the world, to hear your own thoughts, and to exist in a space that is yours, unmediated and unmeasured. Life feels expansive again, not louder, faster, or more dramatic, just real. Waiting quietly beneath the noise, beneath the constant pull of the world, it is a luxury that asks for nothing but willingness to step into it, to walk without distraction, and to notice. The ordinary miracles of life, the rhythms that belong only to you, are always there,